Welcome to another, I was going to say tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration, but today we're doing some American Impressionism. We're doing a study after Robert Julian Onderdonk, and the name of his painting is, I have it handy now, Sunlit Hillside. I don't know what size it was. I do think it was painted around 2010, and I have some biographical information about him I'm going to read to you. Now, I'm doing this study because someone in the members area had, a really awesome person in the members area had requested that I do a study after this guy, and I looked through some of his stuff. A lot of it wouldn't be my cup of tea, but I thought this one was pretty interesting, and so, we got out our brushes yesterday and our paints, and we made a nice study. And I'm going to talk a bit about some distinctions between Impressionism and tonalism in a minute here, but let's get you up to speed with ah Julian Onderdonk. Okay, this is from Wikipedia here. Julian Onderdonk was born in San Antonio, Texas, to Robert Jenkins Onderdonk, a painter, and Emily Gold Onderdonk. He was the brother of so and so, also a prominent Texas painter, brother of Eleanor Onderdonk, sculptor and art administrator. We don't care that much about that stuff. He was raised in South Texas and was an enthusiastic sketcher and painter. As a teenager, Onderdonk was influenced and received some training from the prominent Texas artist Verner Moore White, who also lived in San Antonio at the time. Lucky for him. He attended West Texas Military Academy, graduating in 1900. Wow, it looks like he passed in 1922, so we're not that old. 1882 to 1922. That's not a very long life, Julian. At 19, with the help of a generous neighbor, Julian left Texas in order to study with renowned American Impressionist William Merritt Chase. And there is really no one better than old William, if you ask me, as far as painters go. Julian's father, Robert, had also studied with Chase. Julian spent the summer of 1901 on Long Island at Chase's Shinny Rock Hills Summer School of Art. He studied with Chase a couple of years and then moved to New York City to attempt to make a living as an en plein air artist. While in New York, he met and married Gertrude Shipman, and they soon had a daughter, Adrienne. Onderdonk returned to San Antonio in 1909, where he produced his best work. His most popular subjects were bluebonnet landscapes, which are cool looking. Yeah, not my thing, but hey, you got blue going. Sorry, there's going to be a few sniffles. I've got a bit of allergies or something hit me today, so I apologize for that in advance. But we got to get this video done. Okay, moving on. That's it. He died in 1922, so 82 to 22. That's like 40 years old, right? President Bush had some of his paintings in the Oval Office, and it's the first I ever heard of this guy when Linda, who's a member of my members area, asked me to do a study after his work, and I found this lovely image, and I made this really nice painting, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy a lot. Um, by the way, this would be the time to get into the members area because this is a very, very comprehensive study, and I've left off the whole front portion for the 15-minute version of the painting session. The full version has all the color mixing and a lot of bits of background, and this is one of those videos where I basically took a very teaching sort of approach throughout the whole video, the long form one. Today, you're getting you're getting the advantage of seeing me do a painting and burble a little bit, and I think that's cool too. But it's different. Anyway, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the videos in the members area, a lot of times it's just me painting, and I'll drop a comment now and again. I record just about everything I do. Let's talk a bit about now. I'm no art historian, and frankly, distinctions between movements in art can be very tedious, and I'm not that into them. But I do see some distinctions between tonalism and impressionism, and the number one is that the key of the paintings with impressionism tends to be higher. In other words, it's lighter. With tonalist paintings, you have a darker tone, a darker key, and that suits me and my personality quite well. But as you can see today, I could do Impressionism all day long if I wanted to, and the fact of the matter is that the market sort of favors that thing a bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if this video does very, very well just for the reason that people are going to go, ooh, it's bright and it's light. That's what I want to do. Look at those pretty colors. And it's true that you can tell a color is prettier if it's lighter and brighter, no question about it. Lighter and brighter goes more with people's taste for white walls and things like that. But you know, we all have to be true to ourselves as artists. Other than that, I mean, you've got your brush fracture. Impressionism and tonalism both feature pretty expressive brush handling. So that wouldn't be a big distinction. It's really more of a, oh, we got a guy with his buzzsaw in the background now. That's awesome. Hold on one sec. Generally, a lot of that stuff doesn't come through anyway. Um, I was able to do this quite easily with my palette, and the palette that I have set up is, you know, pretty much designed for me to handle just about any kind of scene that comes my way. That's a landscape type of scene. Now, if I was trying to do floral still lifes, we might find that it was inadequate for that, you know. Um, but it's certainly adequate for most natural scenes that are nature based. Yeah. So no changes in my palette. I will say, um, I believe Onderdonk used a red um, uh, ground color in this painting. There's a lots of spots where actually I think you almost yes, you would have just seen me paint in some red bits. As best as I can detect from the resolution of the image that I was using, it looks like those were areas in his painting where the red of the ground color, the canvas, was stained red, and that's just bits that he had peeking through. And my board is, I'm painting on hardboard, which by the way has been prepped with 2 coats of transparent gesso. And but I like to retain that hardboard color, which is kind of a taupey. It was pretty handy for the bottom pit of the paint, bottom part, not pit, the bottom part of the painting where you know, we're in some taupey, mauvey situations. And it's so fine that little bits of it are peeking through here and there, and that's the thing with your ground color. You're always going to have little bits peeking through. A lot of impressionists chose to work on white. To me, that's really I don't like it because, you know, if I'm laying down some expressive brushwork and I've got little patches of white peeking through, they're like little highlights that catch your eye. You're gonna have to slow down and go in and plug all those holes, and that to me is just gonna kind of mess with the overall expressive quality of the painting. But no question that your impressionists were expressive, your tonalists were expressive. Well, some of the main differences are just like a lot of tonalists might do, you know, twilight scenes or the type of scenes that are at the end of the day or early in the morning. You could tell that in Robert Julian Onderdonk's painting, which you're not seeing his original here, but you could probably pull it up pretty easy on Google with just his name and that title. It looks like it's lit directly from above, you know, like noon, you know. So that's kind of interesting and not something I usually do. I'm almost always going for sideways light, and that's just a personal preference. But he was alive. He was born, while tonalism was going full bore. And if you don't know who William Merritt Chase is, who was one of his teachers, you should check him out because he's an amazing painter, and it was a great teacher too, from what I understand from my studies. Um, Other than that, my approach on this was no different than how I would have handled tonalist painting. I painted it my way. And I guess we got some time to talk about doing studies. If you're into doing a study after this, go for it. I would say it might really go better for you if you spend the 6 bones for the that's the cost of the monthly membership, and you'll get the full length video, which is about 2.5, maybe 3 hours long, uh, where I pretty much walk you through the whole process. But if you don't want to do that, you could still do something based on this 15-minute one. And there is a slowdown feature right there on the bar below the video. So always keep that in mind. You can just turn off the audio here, the burbling. Um, but what I was going to say about doing studies, sorry, sniffle coming. Apologize for that. Um, don't worry about making exact copies. We don't need your exact copy of Robert Onderdonk, Julian Onderdonk's painting. Um, there are entire factory villages in China that will do that, and they will give you exact or close to exact reproductions of painted images done in oil paint. It's um, been going on for a long time. However, the point, as I see it, for an artist who's interested in being an actual artist producing work, in doing studies, is to try and absorb some of the soul and inspiration from the person that they're doing a study after. Um, in this case, Robert has a wonderful fracture in his brushwork, which I really related to. He also had that kind of more antique sort of approach. You can see that in the sky, the way that there's a bit of modeling with the colorations in the sky. Whether he did this in plein air or not, I don't know. Possibly he did. It'd be pretty interesting to find that out. Unfortunately, he didn't live that long, and there is, unlike myself, he's not able to record video of his painting sessions. But so when you do a study, make your own painting inspired by. Now, if you pulled up Robert's original, you'd see that he had an awful lot more sky above his tree. I did a lot of creative cropping and other tweaks. I also kind of straightened out a portion of the hill because it was really dome-like, and I just don't like that. And there's things, being an experienced painter, that I don't like, and because I don't like them, I don't need to do them. So I changed his reference a bit in Photoshop. I changed his painting a bit in Photoshop before going after my study. I zoomed in closer. I'm very sensitive to excessive amounts of sky above the tree. I just don't like it. I like things in a little more with a closer crop. And I used to do a lot of paintings that had a big amount of sky above the tree, and to me, they always look like a bit of a failure. And I'm not saying that was true of his painting, but I know I don't like it, and it doesn't suit me, so I didn't do it. And the same thing goes for exactly copying his work stroke for stroke or any of that. Don't worry about that stuff. Just make a study. Try and make a good, fairly faithful copy of his painting, but do it in your style. Paint it your way, and learn as you go. And you will learn a lot by doing studies after other artists. And I recommend doing studies after deceased artists because that means that you can really easily sell the work without any chance of running into copyright issues or getting sued or anything like that. You really don't need that kind of aggravation in your life. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little study, and I might look around and see if there's any other stuff he's done that I might enjoy doing studies after. And I really enjoyed having a little bit of an American Impressionism in my life, and might do it again. Until I come back with another video, though, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself and your family and all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you.